All right, folks. All right. Yes, folks. Profits? Who needs profits? We want diamond hands. And, anyways, we have $64,000. The SEC has proposed new crypto offerings. And, of course, Cardano's mapped out their new upgrade. I don't know how many people still care about Cardano at this point, but I know there's at least a couple of people that are still interested in Cardano. But the SEC has proposed safe harbors and other rules that are actually pretty meaningful. And this is obviously because Clarity didn't actually get passed. But remember, these are actually like temporary. They're not permanent. So because Clarity is actually stalling out, the SEC is trying to make its rules ahead of time. So the US SEC proposed a new rule that seeks to offer a pathway for investments involving digital assets that would exempt certain offerings from adhering to securities laws as broader legislation stalls in Washington. So basically, like, they're trying to replace Clarity, at least temporarily, and pass something that would actually help like crypto companies, not so much us as coin investors, but crypto companies. Until something actually gets passed. So on Tuesday, the SEC put forth Regulation Crypto Assets, which it says would be a tailored offering regime designed to help raise capital while protecting investors. This is separate from an innovation exemption. Congress designed our securities laws to amplify within specific guardrails opportunities for entrepreneurs to innovate and build new products, said SEC Chair Paul Atkins in a statement. Advancing this regulatory framework is a key element in our strategy to advance the rule books for the modern era and another step by the Commission to onshore innovation in crypto asset markets for generations to come. Regulatory crypto builds on the guidance released in March by both the SEC and its sister agency, the CFTC, that clarified how federal securities laws apply to digital assets and transactions, stating that most of these assets were not securities. This is separate from an innovation exemption focused on tokenized assets. The latest proposed rules would follow a startup exemption that would exempt offerings up to $5 million from registration under the Securities Act of 1933 for 4 years. So it basically gives you like a time frame for 4 years before they would be declared as securities, and you have that time to make sure that your project is not considered as a security. The proposal also includes a fundraising exemption for offerings up to $75 million for a year. So they're trying to exempt a lot of things from actually being securities and being commodities because that's just easier to deal with. The proposal also includes a safe harbor that would allow digital assets to no longer be a security if certain conditions are met, and it has ceased all managerial efforts. So yes, more or less, like certain digital assets would no longer actually be securities. I think that's really what they're actually aiming for. I definitely think that's what they're aiming for, like just to ease burden on new crypto companies coming and have them classify as commodities. I think that was what was going to happen with Clarity, but Clarity is just being held up. It's kind of being shot down, so they're doing a temporary step in terms of the SEC. This comes just days after the SEC was scheduled to hold a meeting on Friday to propose this rule, but it was canceled last minute due to an unforeseen scheduling issue. An SEC spokesperson told the block last week. Yes, unforeseen scheduling issue. The SEC's move to propose rulemaking comes as lawmakers in Washington have stalled out in passing sweeping legislation to regulate digital assets for the first time comprehensively at the federal level. The bill, called the Clarity Act, has hit one hurdle after another, from fights between crypto and banks on stablecoin rewards to addressing President Donald Trump's conflict of interest. Yeah, there are a lot of conflicts of interest. We've all been through this. So this is kind of like the SEC's proposal. They have an startup exemption of up to $75 million raised. And of course, like an exception for the first 5 years with a safe harbor that you can actually get to be a commodity instead of a security if you meet certain conditions. So that'll be good for crypto if it actually gets passed. I'm not really sure it'll actually get passed. The other thing is I want to discuss with Cardano. Cardano has surrendered most of its August gains, back down to 17 cents. So Cardano has outlined a two-stage plan for its next major network upgrade, but that does not seem to have done much for the price. Network upgrades rarely impact price. Most people just don't see them as like having much to do with price. Cardano traded near 0.174 as of this writing, which is almost 14% below the highest price it saw in August, with the chart showing that it has now lost most of the gains it saw when it went above 20 cents earlier this month. So the 20 cents was like a little bit of news, but that was obviously like a FOMO. People like FOMOed it up like 15%. Now it's lost all the gains because you obviously can't keep FOMO up. You most obviously can't keep FOMO up. Unfortunately, when you can't maintain that good news. The team explained that the upgrade means that Cardano becomes quicker while maintaining the security of the network. In its first phase, it introduces linear LEOs. This increases the number of blocks Cardanos can process. It will also introduce a form of nested transactions, something designed to help developers when they are building applications on top of the network, which adds another dimension that helps them be more flexible when developing apps. The developers hope to finish the test and test the necessary software in Q4 2026. Though that is not the mainnet date, upgrade will need to go through Cardano's testing networks first, which allows the main operators time to ensure that their systems are prepared for the changes. Second phase is planned for Q2 2027. For now, it will introduce Paras, which is planned to help the network achieve faster transaction confirmation. So the thing is, like, the first step will actually be in 2026. It has to go through Cardano's test networks first, and it is basically something to boost up optimization and also speed, and that will help app developers. Intersects at both timelines are estimates, as testing, community approval, and preparations by exchanges and other services could push them back. So obviously it's not final. Cardano climbed to around 20.3 cents earlier this month, but couldn't establish itself above 20 because sellers have since pushed it back towards 17 cents. Buying momentum has now been lost during the time the price dropped, leaving 17.1 cent as an important area to watch. It was trading around that level up until its current surge gathered pace, and losing this position opens up the possibility of a move back towards 16 cents, the level at which buyers entered in July. For now, the picture for the picture of Cardano to improve, it would need to first climb back up towards 19.3 cents, with a much larger and stiffer test back up towards 20 cents, where the August rally stopped. So yeah, a lot of stuff actually going on here. Definitely a lot of stuff actually going on here. It's trying to get Cardano to make its biggest Cardano. This is a big upgrade, optimization, performance upgrade. Hopefully, this can actually get more DeFi going on Cardano. I know they finally started focusing on DeFi, which is exactly what they needed to do. So hopefully, this actually has some kind of effects on Cardano. Because if it doesn't, I mean, I think it will probably drop out of the top 20. And that would be bad for Cardano investors, obviously Cardano token holders as well. How low do you see BTC the next 3 months? I personally see like mid 40s as like a bottom. If it doesn't actually drop much more in the next 3 months, it's probably hit a bottom. So there is a chance that it's already bottomed. I still think it will actually drop. I don't really see much news that would actually cause it to go up. But I mean, we could have bottomed at 58,000. That is more than 50% down, although 50% down is still significantly better than what 50% down is still much more significantly better than how much we dumped in other bear markets. So there's definitely that. So a lot of people are hoping for the 50K bottom. But still, like, the Saylor stuff kind of worries me. Like, he's raising a lot through stock sales, but he's buying no Bitcoin. So, like, Strategy raises $334 million through stock sales, but buys no Bitcoin. Proceeds funded STRC dividends and repurchases. They're repurchasing STRC funds. You're doing stock buybacks. They're trying to get it back to $100. While $149.1 million was added to Strategy's US dollar reserve, which reached $4.8 billion. So they did issue some stock. They raised $334 million, but it was not used to buy Bitcoin. So Saylor's definitely slowing his Bitcoin buys down. He might eventually be net negative soon, which would actually be really horrible for crypto altogether. Strategy raised $333.7 million through common stock sales last week, but made no Bitcoin purchases, leaving its holdings unchanged at 840,447. The company said sold 3.46 million MSTR shares between August 10th and August 16th through its at-the-market offering program, according to Monday 8K filing with the U.S. SEC. Of the proceeds, 52.4 million was used to fund the twice monthly dividends on STRC preferred stock, while 132.2 million funded repurchases of the same security. Another 149.1 million was added to the company's U.S. dollar reserve. Strategy repurchased about 1.39 million STRC shares for 132.2 million during the week. It made no repurchases of its other preferred securities or MSTR common stock. STRC was down 0.12 in the pre-market activity Monday at 94.67, after closing Friday 1.03 lower at 94.78, according to Yahoo Finance. Company reported no Bitcoin purchases or sales during the period. Its 840,447 Bitcoin were acquired for an aggregate of $63.36 billion, including fees and expenses, at an average purchase price of at 75,385 per coin. So the STRC stuff does actually worry me. I think that is a very, very legitimate concern for us. So yeah, like not too crazy about that. Obviously, like we had a Grayscale cancel 3 ETFs. That shows us like volume's really low. And since like interest rates are pretty high, I don't really see volume truly improving, obviously. They get into the press spot. You can buy in general to crypto. Hope for a Clarity Act. I mean, Clarity isn't really going to pass anyways. And the thing is, like, they'll probably win the presidency in 28. They will probably win the presidency. Like, the Democrats will probably win the presidency in the 28. They're not, like, I don't think it's going to kill crypto. However, I do, however, think that, like a lot of the crap tokens will actually be targeted a lot. I mean, if you really look at it, that's what Trump coin, Melania coin, etc., is. That's really what Trump coin and Melania coin are. So, given that's what Trump coin and Melania coin are, like, they're definitely going to go after that. And they should, because those are scams. So, like, it will be more, in terms of coins and tokens, it definitely will be more restricted. Like, coins and tokens will be way more restricted. Yeah, like stuff like pump.fun is going to face some consequences, but I don't know how many people actually care about pump.fun. Really don't know how many people actually care about pump.fun, folks. Because I don't really care too much about it. Maybe some of you do, I really don't. Coins like Canton and Link have value, but value to normies? Well, the network has value. The coins themselves, I don't know. Like, that's the major question here. Like, do the coins themselves have value, or is it only the network that has value? Because you could make the argument it's really just the network that has value, and the coins themselves don't really have much value. You can say they're gas fees, sure, I'll give you that. But that doesn't really improve the value of the coin itself. And that is actually what's kind of like problematic. Like, people really don't know what they're investing in. People really don't know what they're investing in. I mean, like, that's a huge problem with crypto. Like, they can't pinpoint what the value is they're investing in. Like, it seems like you're investing in a lot of hopes and dreams. There's basically like no there's basically no like truly attached value to it. Because the utility is just not there. I mean, it's been over 10 years and the utility is not there. So like, I think like in the future, like very soon, like if crypto bros want people to invest in their coin, they're gonna have to define like what they're actually investing in. Thought shit meme coins would hurt crypto at some point. I think it really has to. I mean, the more like we talk about it, the more like I think a lot of it is like the Trump coin, Melania coin stuff. I definitely think that actually hurt the market way more than we originally thought. Trump approval ratings now 33%. It's getting worse. I mean, it should be worse because, like, he's kind of garbage, especially with a war. Clowning it on Cardano being 17 cents, but all crypto down has been. It has, but Cardano has been hit extremely hard, going down from like basically. I mean, Cardano got to like 130, like back in 24, but people were expecting to get to $3. I think it's more to do with like Charles. He just didn't really do what was expected with Cardano. Like the community is starting to turn on him. But obviously, a lot of coins are down 80 or 90% as well, so you can't really single out one coin. But people are getting tired, man, because, like, you know, they've been waiting since, like, 21, 22, and it's been, like, 4 years, and there's no signal to an end of it. So, I mean, like, I understand, like, I fully understand the frustration that people have. I mean, you got to sympathize. You got to sympathize with people. Like, you can't, yeah, you got to realize, like, that people are just frustrated. So is the Cardano news good? Well, yes, because they're finally doing like a performance upgrade, which Cardano has desperately needed for a while now. They're finally doing like some kind of performance optimization upgrade with Cardano, which Cardano has needed for sure. But like they also need to get more people building and using the DeFi. Well, they thought they knew what they voted in, but they really didn't. Today, 5 states for you ever keep an eye redistrict, try to cheat the election. Redistricting is something that occurs very often, but like they kind of cry when the other side does it. It gave Bitcoin a boost. Yeah, but then like it crashed Bitcoin back down with the tariffs. That's the issue. Like I think the damage done with the tariffs was actually much bigger than the boost it gave crypto, or that gave Bitcoin. Because remember, like, we got a huge boost in Bitcoin with the Bitcoin ETF when Biden was still in office, like a year before the election. That was like 2.5 years ago now. That's crazy how fast time has come and gone. Penn governor had a yap vest about data centers. The left also has issues. Extreme centrists have no place in this world. Well, first of all, like, I do think they need to control data centers. Like, if they want to build data centers, fine, but they have to pay for, like, all the extra power they use. And they have to like bring their own power facilities along with. They also have to be built in places that don't actually affect like people's that don't affect like people's quality of life. Like I'm definitely not in the pro data center crowd. AI is cool, but like building a ton of data centers like everywhere. Like they suck up so much electricity. It's like prisons, capital of the world. They have countless areas of nothing. I mean, the thing is, it just uses so much. Like if you do a closed loop system where it doesn't use water, it just uses so much electricity. Florida's not going to turn blue. It's actually becoming more and more red. The immigrants coming over from Cuba are more likely to be conservative. Goofy like CH in the loop. I think data centers are just going to get a lot of pushback is the thing. Like they're not going to be able to build as many of them as they want because a lot of people see them as just surveillance centers. And like people don't really want to conjure up the public funds to actually build them. Sure, in the future. The Cuban population lived through smart enough to never vote for it. I mean, they should also realize that a lot of Cuba's problems stems from the fact that the U.S. has been embargoing Cuba for like 60 years, not just their socialism. Like we started the embargo like a year after Castro took over. You could have a capitalist system, honestly, and if your superpower next door is embargoing you, you're not going to do well. Data centers might be an essential service soon. I mean, the thing is, like, we could live with the amount of AI we have right now. We don't need, like, super advanced AI. Like, I feel like the companies want to just borrow public funds to build these data centers so they can increase their profits, essentially. I'm sure it has some use for humanity, of course, but I don't think you should be able to haphazardly build data centers everywhere. But there is going to be a pushback because no one actually wants a data center in their neighborhood or anywhere near their neighborhood. So considering buying a few more bags of snack, I mean, it's a full gamble. It's a completely full gamble at this point. I don't know if I would buy any comments at this point. I really don't know if I would buy any comments at this point. Any memes at this point. It just seems like so risky. That like it just seems so risky at this point. It's not worth it. Snack should definitely go multi-chain. I've been saying that for a long time. You wouldn't have a job without some sort of AI? Bro, I've been working online for a long time. Long before this AI stuff came up. AI is this AI stuff's like honestly kind of new. Like YouTube worked fine without AI. Yeah, the thumbnails were a bit harder to make because I had to make them myself instead of like just having AI generate them now. But that's not that big of a deal. Well, military in South Korea, Trump said North Korea isn't dangerous. Trump has no idea what he's talking about. North Korea is like allied with Iran. Trump is getting mad at South Korea for not wanting to join the Iranian war, but he's like trying to get closer to the side that's actually allied with Iran. That makes no sense. Like Trump logic is completely illogical. He has no idea what the hell he's doing. Like if you're fighting North Korea, if you're fighting Iran, why would you favor North Korea? That literally makes no sense. Because North Korea, Russia, China, and Iran are like diplomatically aligned. Those four countries are diplomatically aligned. Now, North Korea doesn't actually have the power to really help Iran. Russia, like, definitely has business deals with Iran, so you should stop being so friendly towards them as well. North Korea is definitely helping Russia by sending cannon fodder soldiers over, but they are definitely aligned with Tehran as well. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, North Korea, China, Russia, Iran. Those four are kind of diplomatically aligned. So if you're really fighting Iran, why cozy up to North Korea? Yeah, that was during the last term. He's saying that he's wanting to stop the joint military exercises with South Korea and cozy up to the North Koreans now, which makes no sense. Israel has something on the man. But Israel doesn't like North Korea either. Like, North Korea is anti-Israel. Like, none of this stuff makes any sense at all. It doesn't make any sense that he's trying to like threaten, that he's trying to pull back from South Korea and cozy up with North Korea. Think AI runs YouTube. A lot of the bans and stuff are like aren't human. They're definitely AI. Like a lot of the moderation is AI, but their AI moderation sucks. First of all, and there's like so many complaints on it. But there was a time when AI didn't run YouTube and it worked just fine. Like for the first 15 years. It's just like they're just trying to cut costs and like maximize profits. Like honestly, like YouTube's algo from like 5-6 years ago is way better than its algo right now. Like when 5-6 years ago, I actually got recommended stuff that I wanted to watch. I mean, a lot of it is shorts because shorts are like garbage, but still, the time you had a buggy and a horse network, fine. But like YouTube's algo was better. Like YouTube's algo was simply better 5 or 6 years ago. Just goes after news headlines that make him look like a deal maker. Doesn't matter what countries he's in. Yeah, but high or lows, he's not a deal maker. That's the thing. Like this doesn't make him look like a deal maker. It just kind of makes him look dumb. Like kind of like spurning South Korea for North Korea while you're fighting with Iran. That's not deal making. That's just stupid. Like what the hell, man? You know those two countries are kind of allied. Like you know that Russia, North Korea, China, and Iran are allied. Like, what the heck? Like China's the one supporting North Korea. Bitcoin showing bullish strength right now. What do you think is the reason? We're still in the exact same range. I mean, it's just going back and forth, and like it's basically in that range of $2,000 or $3,000. Like the only real way you can make money right now is low leverage trading on either Bitcoin or altcoins. That's the only real way you can make money. Like, otherwise, you're not going to make shit at this point. You really aren't. Yeah, Bitcoin is literally just ranging. Main goal of AI is to be able to raise the profits while employing zero humans. Basically, like that's the main purpose of AI to companies. It's supposed it's supposed to like cut down on human labor so they can maximize profits. And sometimes they work, a lot of times they don't, because ultimately they're not human. It's also more efficient too. It can do more things, but it doesn't like a lot of times it doesn't do them correctly though. But it is just a way for companies to get rid of labor and like maximize profits. That's why China basically said like companies can't replace humans with AI just for the sake of like basically raising profits. That's a rule the Chinese government actually made. Because they realize that's going to cause a lot of people to be unemployed, and there's not going to be enough jobs to fill. I would say it's more efficient and faster. Smarter, not so much. I wouldn't say it's smarter. There have definitely been more and more complaints as like YouTube's like let AI do more and more moderation. Because ultimately, like the AI moderators just look at a script. If it checks certain boxes, like they'll ban you, and of course they'll make a lot of mistakes. It was supposed to IPO, that went nowhere. If they IPO signed with the top, GS is a scam of the earth. I don't know what's wrong with Grayscale, but you know. I mean, I wouldn't really call Google AI. That Google search AI. All that Google stuff is doing is basically it's basically like taking the data of like all other websites and then just regurgitating them out to you. Like it's essentially like what's the most popular answer from trusted sources. That's what it regurgitates out to you. I mean, I guess you could call it a certain sort of AI. How it's not all that different from how Google used to work. Basically, you search for something, it looks at the metadata of websites, and then it returns like the site most likely to answer your question. It's just that now they've taken the text out of the site and just placed it right on their engine. It's honestly like it's not that different from how it used to work. Like it used to be they sent you to the website with the answer. Now they just like pull the text from the website up on their own search engine. That's really the main difference. Like you ask it a question, it goes to the Wikipedia page, and then it pulls out what Wikipedia says instead of sending you to Wikipedia. I mean, the problem with YouTube moderation is the AI basically acts on a script, and it doesn't have the ability to really think outside that script. So, like, it actually makes. I mean, it does make a lot of mistakes in terms of like deleting channels and stuff. I'm just not been impacted because like a lot of the channels they delete are like foreign language channels. Which sucks for the foreign language YouTubers. It might do more good than bad, but like if all those people get laid off, I'm not really sure. But for companies, it is really all about like minimizing costs and maximizing profit. About 7 months ago, any crypto to move not for monetary. just because that's the issue right now. It's really boring, so no one's actually interested. You're absolutely right. It is very, very boring right now. I wish it wasn't though, but you know, like wishing it wasn't boring isn't going to make it not boring. So yeah. They said internet was going to make everyone work at home too. Yeah, they would kill email, kill mail services. I mean, email did like reduce the amount of mail. Like email did actually like reduce like people sending mail for sure. I think like the mail just got. I mean, you could argue that that like people like actual mail just got replaced by spam mail. I don't know if we were receiving so much spam mail before, but like I definitely send a lot less letters than I did like back in the day because I don't have to. It's not above 65. It's at 64. Well, I mean, you still like mail services still have to like still have to like send packages. But actual like mail, yeah, it's been reduced by like but actual real mail, it's been reduced by a huge percentage. I mean, that's why the post office I mean, it impacts post office revenue. Even a big drop would give crypto more attention. Yeah, a big drop would give crypto more attention for a while. The thing is, like, crypto is too stable right now. There's not the volatility that's defined crypto over the years. That's why everyone's so bored right now. I think last time I checked, it was like 90%. But I mean, like, entry level, like, legal jobs are completely being replaced by AI. But it is something that's only really come up in, like, the last, like, 5 or 10 years. And can we go back to living without it right now? Yeah, we probably could. Yeah, like if there was like, 10-20% jumps every day, people would be way more excited about crypto. They will probably come out IPO over 500 billion. Yeah, Stripe's insane. I mean, Stripe might be a boost for crypto though. A lot of people playing Polymarket, but I mean, that's because Polymarket and Kalshi are kind of rigged. We all know they're kind of rigged. There's definitely a lot of insider trading going on those platforms. Like you can like people can deny it all they want, but there's 100% insider trading going on those platforms. Lead the charge there. OUSD is a big threat to USDC. Like it is actually. I will concede that OUSD is definitely a huge threat to Circle. Not that I really care about Circle, but it like, cause I don't have any investments in Circle and stuff. I don't have any investments in Circle, but it is a very big threat to Circle in terms of like business. Kind of referring to those 15-minute BTC contract, always a final 20 will do a massive reverse. That's what they're meant to do, man. It's rigged. It's rigged, man. Like prediction markets can so easily be rigged. I don't know if OUSD is like a huge threat to Coinbase itself. Coinbase is like Robinhood better than Coin. I would still use Coinbase over Robinhood. I mean, I use Kraken right now, but I would definitely use Coinbase over Robinhood. It's not like the a lot of the bets are rigged, bro. A lot of the bets are rigged, man. They're so rigged. And like a lot of the crypto people like went into prediction markets. That's the issue. A ton of the crypto people actually went into prediction markets. Coins I'm targeting: Ethereum, Solana, CC. Yeah, I mean, like, I definitely see like Ethereum, Solana, and Hype. I don't know about CC and ZEC. Like if you're talking about Canton, like maybe I'm still unconvinced by Canton. I know it's got a lot of partnerships and stuff, but I'm unconvinced, man. I'm totally unconvinced. I don't know if the utility will actually help the price. I gotta see some proof of that, and I don't see any proof of the utility actually helping the price. So you gotta show me that like that part actually works with CC. And they have not shown me that at all. Crypto overall has not shown me that. Well, Ball Gold, that's just another reason to get rid of ICE. If anyone's killing people with ICE, that's another great reason to get rid of ICE. Like ex-president killed more people with ICE is not a flex for ICE. That's just a great reason to get rid of ICE. Can you hear them? But it could be managed better. They need like to do retraining, and like the incentives they give ICE are like ridiculous at this point. Like the incentives and the kinds of people they hire need to be different as well. You can't give them like a per illegal immigrant found incentive. Then they're just gonna like go around like trying to beat people up and deport them for like extra money. They give them way too much leeway, yeah. What is a hype coin release schedule? And they should be able to be sued. Like much harder than they are now. Like they shouldn't have any kind of immunity. What is hype coin release schedule? There are 22 So hype is supposed to be like deflationary because they actually burn hype. And the company does actually use profits to buy back the coin and burn. So it's supposed to be deflationary. That's really not how the government works, though. Like, the government has to agree to be sued. I mean, I agree that public servants overall should be just held to a higher standard, but, whatever. Yeah, guy, like the U.S. economically has done better under Democratic presidents than Republican ones. So you can shout your fear mongering all you want. Reality doesn't bear it out. Times we forget public servants are people too. I mean, yeah, obviously they're flawed, but they should actually be able to be sued. They make mistakes. They make a lot of them. But you can't give them incentives you can't base your incentives on how many people they deport because they're just going to I mean, that's why they make mistakes so often about deporting legal immigrants and even a couple of citizens every once in a while. No, I can go to China. I have the American passport. Personally sued. I don't want my debt paying their settlements. Yes, I think they should be able to be personally sued. The thing is, but ADM, the problem is you don't know who you're suing because they all wear masks. Dude, the Democrats really do better no matter who's in Congress. Because both, like, if you look at Clinton and Obama, they both did really well. Whether it was the Democrats in Congress or the Republicans in Congress. With public servants. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I agree with you there, but especially for ICE, you can't, it's hard to sue them because you don't know who they are. You legit don't know who they are. They're all wearing masks. Like, that's why they shouldn't be able to wear masks. Because you need to be able to identify who they are, so you can actually take civil action against them if they wrong you. Because if they're wearing masks, how the hell who are you going to sue exactly? Like, they wear masks and they don't have a name tag. Who are you going to sue? Like, if public servants arrest you, they should be able to tell you. They should have to tell you who's arresting them, who's arresting you. Like, they shouldn't be able to wear a mask and do it anonymously. No discretion. That's a dumb question. That's a really dumb question. Like, they're obviously wearing masks for a different purpose. They're wearing masks so people can't identify them. Yeah, they're civil servants, Baldy Gold. No, they don't carry identification. They should have a name tag and they should be unmasked. Civil servants, like government workers, should have identification with them. You can't just have like random mass people without identification coming to your door and arresting someone. That's nonsense. No, their ID needs to be displayed, and every time they arrest someone, they should be required to show their ID. Because, if you're police or law enforcement and you arrest me, I need to see that you are actually law enforcement, not just some like random masked guy. Dude, AI guy is just like fear mongering like every single day. Don't listen to AI guy. He's just completely fear-mongering. But if you're going to come into someone's house, if you're going to come into my house and arrest someone, you had better show ID. Because otherwise, I don't know if you're police or not. They're supposed to identify, though? Would they? They would definitely not. Like, right now, the Trump administration has made them basically invulnerable. Yeah, the police should have a name tag, unless you're like Delta Force or something, which these guys aren't, which they're not. You should have a name tag up here, and you shouldn't be able to wear a mask. But if you're going to arrest someone, you should have to provide identification. Because if you arrest someone wrongly, there needs to be consequences, and people need to know who to actually bring to justice and sue. Because right now, they're definitely not going to tell you who they are. How the heck do you prove you're a citizen, Baldy Gold? Not everyone carries their passport with them. Yeah, if you want to arrest someone, you'd have to prove that you have the authority to arrest someone. You should have to identify yourself, and have a judge issue warrant, a court issued warrant, not one that you just wrote up yourself. That should be the standard. Like, people do not carry their papers with them all the time, Baldy Gold. That's like, no one does. Like, if I just arrested you off the street, you would not be able to prove that you're a citizen, because I'm pretty sure you do not carry your passport around, and your driver's license doesn't cut it. The standards are still very low. Shouldn't they have a digital one? Do you have a digital passport on you all the time, Baldy Gold? You don't, do you? Like, if someone just like grabs you off the street, there's no way you can prove whether you're a citizen or not. That's ridiculous. It's called a social security. Yeah, you guys don't really know what you're talking about, do you? Like, most people don't carry all that stuff around. And a social security card is not a photo ID. Have you guys seen one? It's basically a card with a number on it. I actually have mine, but like, it's basically a card with a number on it. It's not a photo ID. First of all, like, most people do not actually carry that stuff around with them. And no, it's not on your phone. And plus, a lot of a lot of the poor immigrants probably don't have like iPhones. The other thing is like, a lot of these guys probably just have like taxpayer SSNs. I don't really know. Like, I don't really know if they carry the papers with them. But the thing is, if you're going to arrest someone, you have to provide your own ID to make sure that you are a cop, that you have the legal authority to actually arrest someone. Well, yeah, but the driver's license isn't proof of citizenship. No, they do not have free luxury housing and drive luxury cars, Baldy Gold. Stop listening to the propaganda. Stop listening to the bullshit propaganda. Then have to be, they compare that to database. Well, I mean, look, if you're going to arrest someone, you should have to identify yourself. Like, when a police pulls me over, they're not some like mass dude without a badge. They are like their identification, their name. I can see it right here on their chest, and they're not masked. Well, they're not following the laws. A lot of the stories are just like random mass people barging into people's houses. They don't show their name tags, or their police identification, or their law enforcement identification. Because if they did, it wouldn't really matter if they were masked or not, now would it? If you actually had name and identification, it does not matter if your face is masked. They would know who you are. And there are many videos where they refuse to identify themselves at all or talk to like whoever they're arresting. They just grab them and throw them in the van. There isn't any XRP news. I mean, XRP's price has been wobbling around like all the other coins. No, they don't have a liability if you don't know who the hell they are, Alan. You can't sue someone if you can't name them. That's why they wear masks and don't have their IDs and don't want to ID themselves. Because if they mistakenly like arrest a citizen or legal immigrant and they can be identified, they can get sued. Polkadot, I'm not a huge fan of Polkadot. Like, even before the situation, I wasn't a fan. I just I don't really see how all these chains actually all the sub chains affect Polkadot price. It's actually pretty hard to sue the government, especially if you don't know who the agent is. There are many people that have gotten illegally deported. Yeah, they are not required to provide their individual names unless specified by legal necessity or specific public safety rules. So you don't actually know who to sue. And if you want to sue the government has to agree to you suing them. And like ICE has a lot of immunities. It is like 88 Metal Mania said, it's trash. And they obviously do racial profiling. We'll create a clearing for certain investment contracts. They've been trying to do that for a long time. They're basically trying to do like a temporary. They're trying to do like a temporary Clarity Act because Clarity is not going to pass. They're 100% trying to do like a temporary Clarity Act because Clarity is not going to pass. Like 88 Metal Mania, like I said, you can't identify them. That makes them really hard to sue. Like, ICE doesn't really follow laws at all. I state that ICE must identify as immigration officials when practical and safe. Yeah, but how do you know they're not lying exactly? Like, unless they provide their own IDs, and their badges and stuff, how do you know they're not lying? It's not like those like uniforms are hard to find online. And there have been several instances of people just pretending to be ICE officers. Like, you should have to fully identify yourself if you want to arrest someone. Like, if a random masked guy shows up at my place and refuses to identify himself, I'm not going to comply with him. Like, why would I? I could just be some random dude wearing a uniform. Like in Texas, like in states with a castle law, like if you're an actual citizen, like if you have a firearm and they trespass on your property, you can legally shoot those guys. If they try to force their way into your house. Because a masked guy trying to force their way into my house is a threat. And there's been several instances of them deporting citizens. There's been many, many instances of them actually deporting the wrong people. Because they don't really check. Like, not everyone has their papers with them, or can immediately prove that like they're not illegal. Especially if they go like raid like Best Buy or something. A lot of workers don't carry like their passport on them all the time, and they do racial profiling. So if you look Hispanic, they're gonna like throw you in the van and try to deport you. Like, I don't carry my passport around. I carry my driver's license. Like, and if I'm out like for a jog, I don't even have my wallet most of the time. What's their ID? They only have to say immigration official. That's all according. Yeah, that's complete BS. They should have to fully identify themselves, like as to their name and everything. They should not be able to wear masks. So you know who's responsible for actually trying to deport you. So if they wrongly deport you, you know who to take to court. Yeah, you should have the right to know which agent is trying to deport you. October coming, historically green. I don't know. It didn't really work last year. Well, it kind of did, and like halfway through, and then it died. She didn't try to run the ICE agent over. Did you actually look at the footage? She tried to turn and he got in the way. ICE is not going to steal. Well, I mean, like I guess they might, but that's not what I'm concerned about. The thing is, like, they shouldn't get bonuses based on how many people they deport, because that obviously gives them the incentive to like deport more people. You're supposed to have an identification on you. Look, like most American citizens don't carry their passport on them. Your driver's license does not prove that you're a citizen. No, because non-citizens can get a driver's license. Under the Save Act, it also doesn't require it also does not actually suffice as the ID to help to let you vote. I don't know. I don't think my driver's license actually indicates my status or not. It doesn't. Like it indicates like if I'm a donor, like if I'm an organ donor or not, but it doesn't indicate like if I'm a citizen or not. It's like my driver's license specifically says not for federal purposes. The barcode on the right. I'm not really sure. It says not for federal purposes. It's like I mean, anyone can get a driver's license. As soon as they run in the passport pic. Look, most permanent residents don't carry their passport on them. Like the passport is just unless you're traveling internationally, it's something that people leave at home. Tells them who you are, and the database tells them the rest. I mean, it tells them who you are. Like it gives them a name. I promise they're not legit. To be clear, I'm not condoning ICE, but some illegals here are doing very bad things. But like ADML, they've made many mistakes. I think a lot of times there's been enough proof that a lot of times they just don't ask. They just put you in the van and try to deport you. Because they have like tried to deport citizens and kept them in waiting for a long time. They can't find American to work at the farm. Yeah, but that's just an economic. That's not like this issue. That's an economic problem that like they didn't think of. And like I said, they shouldn't be given incentives to deport more people, because that incentivizes them to be less strict and less careful. Like if there was a penalty on like every mistake they made, maybe. There should be a penalty on every mistake they make. And it's not like they get that much training. Dude, if they deport a citizen, they should just like straight up get fired. If they actually deport a citizen, they should just straight up get fired. Or if they try to, like, if they lay hands or try to deport a citizen, they should just straight up get fired. Because obviously their detective work didn't work. Yeah, crime isn't skyrocketing in Europe. That's another false statistic that you brought up, Baldy Gold. Overall crime is not going up in Europe. Mistakes, if you're in the same thing, you should be held accountable for the mistakes. Yeah, like murder rates across Western Europe have dropped significantly since the late 1990s and early 2000s. For example, Italy saw annual murders fall from over 1,900 in 1991 to 327 in 2024. Not with the Trump system, Baldy Gold. The Trump system basically just lets us off without anything. So yeah, like violent crime rates are not skyrocketing in Europe. They've significantly gone down since the immigration crisis has actually taken hold. So there is no crime skyrocketing. You just made that up. Paperwork can be... Do paperwork and become a pure citizen? The thing is, like, they've made it too hard to actually become a citizen is the issue. That's one of the reasons why illegal immigration's gone up so much. They've made the path to citizenship to be like really hard and the waiting time to be super long. It's not a little bit more money. It's a lot more money. Like gas prices are up like 40, 50% since he got in. Like they're going up again because there's like people really don't see a resolution. And plus like our reserves are dropping too low. Look, he doesn't like Trump doesn't have to make that speech for people to know they have to pay more on gas. It's like the prices are right there in front of us, bruh. It's not a secret. It is not a secret that we're paying more. Look, the whole inflation thing is the whole inflation rate cuts thing is what's hitting crypto the most. And the reason the inflation's happening right now is it's solely because of the Iranian war. It's really not because of anything else. Rate cut, I think overall would move like both Bitcoins and tokens. I think more people like if the rate was like 2%, more people would be willing to borrow money. But people are also forgetting like rates aren't going to be zero again. Rates are not going to be zero again anytime soon. Like when people look on crypto's good days, they're looking at like 0% interest rates. That's just not going to happen again. Like that's not a thing anymore. Like that died a long time ago. That the 0% interest rates are just simply not happening. Like that was never supposed to be permanent, and that was only permanent because that will only last a long time because of the whole '08 fiasco. Census Bureau are you just making stuff up again? And do you know, like Baldy Gold, even if that was true, which it's not, like, do you know what the ratio is? 128 million to 24K? That's like 1 in 5, like, that's like 1 in 5,000 votes. Also, I think I read that, and that's not what it says. Also, 24,000 votes would not have actually changed the election results because Biden won by a lot more than 24K. Like, there was a 7 million vote difference in 2020 on the popular. Like, you would have to get, like, those 24,000 votes to be split. I mean, there's actually no way that Trump would have won with 20,000 extra votes. Yeah, we're just searching right now. No, there is no verified evidence that 24,000 people voted illegally in the 2020 election. The specific 24,000 figure stems from a renewed claim made by President Donald Trump. He asserted that an ongoing U.S. Census Bureau review of the first 128 million 2020 voter files files against citizenship record proved over 24,000 votes citizens voted illegally. Independent investigations, comprehensive state audits, and numerous court rulings have repeatedly debunked claims of widespread illegal voting in 2020. So basically, it's just that something that Trump claimed that he has no evidence of. So once again, Trump lied and you ate his lie. Bitcoin is doing good now, over 64.4K. I mean, but we've been in this range for a really long time. Yeah, so Baldy Gold, you should stop regurgitating anything that Trump says because pretty much everything that Trump says is a complete lie. We've kind of like verified that he lies all the time and he doesn't really know the truth between a lie. Fox News is just regurgitating whatever Trump says, Baldy Gold. Fox News is a conservative mouthpiece. I don't even know what Osmond Gold is. But Trump just made something up and he got a lot of his followers to parrot him. Like, actual audits did not see 24,000 illegal votes. And 24,000 illegal votes would not have won him the election. Not even close. Like, they might have, because he lost by more than one state. I used to. Yeah, but Baldy Gold, a lot of the stuff they parrot actually ends up being true, whereas like none of the stuff Trump says ever ends up being true. Like Baldy Gold, remember CNN and MSNBC were like two like CNN was actually the only news organization that said like Russia was going to. Well, actually no, it was CNN and NBC. They were the only news organizations that said Russia was going to attack Ukraine like 2 weeks before Russia actually attacked. Everyone else said that was a hoax. Guess who was right? I don't know what Osman Gold is. Because if you actually did the careful analysis, it was pretty clear they were going to attack. Yeah, like all the other news organizations actually looked at it. And the thing is, like, the claim that more than 24,000 non-citizens voted illegally in the 2020 election has not been substantiated by the information provided by the census. Dude, Baldy Gold, you're putting way too much faith in a guy whose first action was to grift hundreds of millions of dollars from his followers. That was his first action as president. Stop believing that guy. What's the news? Fed chair speak at Jackson Hole. Jackson Hole thing, like, people make a big deal about it, but I mean, not much happens there, It will be the first time that's not Jerome Powell for a while, though, so there might be something there. Like, they're trying to reduce the number of FOMC meetings. I don't really know what to think about that. I mean, I really don't care. But, like, they are trying to reduce the number of FOMC meetings. No, that's not the info put out by the Census Bureau. That's just what Trump said. The info put out by the Census Bureau did not actually say that. That's just Trump's interpretation, which is a lie. You probably haven't looked at the actual census data. You just believe whatever Trump regurgitated, Baldy Gold, like you always do for some reason. Dark, when will we realize that the MAGA trolls are like the majority of the Republican Party and have been for a long time? Like, that's why all the MAGA candidates keep winning in the primaries. They actually don't win that much in the generals because the rest of the country's gotten tired of them, but they win the Republican primaries. Except Baldy Gold, they're not voting in our elections. Illegals are not voting in elections. Like, even when conservative groups have done in-depth analysis, they find very little, if any at all, and nowhere near enough to turn any election. Because even if we take the 24,000 at face value, that's nowhere near enough to turn an election. And 128 million is the majority of the voting population in the United States because you have to be over 18 to actually vote. Healthcare was expensive long before this illegal thing. They contribute a lot to the system as well, Baldy Gold, because they all pay taxes. Like, you want to blame everything on illegals, but the problem is, like, healthcare is expensive because pharmaceutical companies and healthcare companies and insurance companies are greedy. It's not because of illegals, it's because they're greedy. Like, there's no reason that EpiPens cost $600. It should cost $600. They can sell it for a lot less and still make profit. It's because they're greedy. Having a bunch of illegals should not make insulin prices go up. They don't go up because of illegals. They go up because the medical companies are greedy. That's why. Because pharmaceutical companies are greedy pigs. Stop blaming illegals for that, bald eagle. It's not like illegals don't make drugs cost more. Pharmaceutical companies and their massive profits are what makes drugs cost more. And Trump RX isn't any cheaper. If you buy generic brands, they're cheaper than Trump RX. Like if you just buy like acetaminophen, it's gonna be cheaper than Tylenol. Even though they're like the same thing basically. Trump is going to make sure whoever succeeds him carries on the MAGA banner because he needs someone, like he needs whoever succeeds him to actually protect him. Look, the Republicans are basically the Trump party now, and they have been for a long time. Which is why they need to die, basically. Why that whole political movement needs to die. No, but I'm not the one lying, Dark. You're just refusing to believe reality that most Republicans are MAGA at this point. It's been that way for a long time, and it's going to continue to be that way. Yes, it's trash, but the Republican Party has been taken over by MAGA. It's why MAGA endorsed candidates keep winning, Dark. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. You just want to justify your support for the Republican Party, but it is the MAGA Party at this point. No, not really. A lot of the non-MAGA incumbents have been primaried by newcomers that are like MAGA endorsed. Like Massey. Massey was not a MAGA person. He was the incumbent for many years. He got replaced. And then like once they ditched Trumpism and MAGA like MTG, even though if they were MAGA before, like basically MAGA completely turns on them. Yeah, well once again, Israel did not actually vote in the primary. Republicans did. Republicans chose to replace like Massey with the MAGA guy. You can give campaign funds. You can choose to give like campaign funds, but ultimately it's Republicans that vote. Yeah, the pillow guy was a joke, man. If he won, like, if the pillow guy actually won, then like then we're just not a serious country. I mean, the fact that our president is like basically selling insider information for $100,000 a pop to like big trading firms already means we're not a serious country. Yes, the big Sal guy is a complete joke. Look, he probably didn't even know what a log was. The big Sal guy probably didn't even know what the hell a log was. He just came up with a fancy chart. He's like, I see a pattern. I'm just like, you don't really know how a log works, do you? And I'm pretty sure he did not know how a log worked. Because the bull run's not going to come for several more months. Like trying to map out crypto with a long-term log chart, like what the hell, man? Yeah, that's not actually happening. It's not actually our territory. He said specifically it would happen by August. So he can't be right because it's August and it hasn't happened. You don't get to come back like a year later and then like say you were right when you were like a year off, because that year means like everything. Strait of Hormuz, our territory, and we charge tolls. Yeah, we're not charging like things aren't going through the strait. It's not our territory. No, Trump is the traitor to the Republicans. But unfortunately, most of the Republicans went with MAGA because they're idiots like you. Republicans are supposed to stand for traditional conservatism. MAGA is not traditional conservatism. MAGA is just a bunch of morons. MAGA doesn't stand for anything. They are completely spineless. They basically only stand for Trump and his interests. They're not patriots. They don't like MAGA does not care about the United States at all. They would betray the United States on a dime if it meant they could get profit off of it. No, the socialist crap has an agenda. MAGA doesn't have an agenda. MAGA does not have an agenda. MAGA's agenda is basically race. Like, no, they have an agenda. Their agenda is basically racism. Like, their only agenda is racism and whatever benefits Trump. That's the MAGA agenda. Like, they are most clearly traitors for the most part. They're only loyal to one thing. They're not loyal to the United States. They're loyal to Donald Trump. Because, they hate communism. But hey, North Korea is great. I mean, hell, if even Alex Jones got tired of you, that's that's garbage, man. Like the most conspiracy-ridden guy on TV, Alex Jones, even he says he's tired of you, man. Like even he can't take your stupid nonsense. Like basically anyone with any set of balls or principles, Trump doesn't like because he can't bend them completely to his will. Trump only likes spineless, ballless followers. That's what Trump likes. Well, Laura Loomer is a spineless follower. Joe Rogan got tired of Trump a long time ago. He just says that stuff for ratings. Like Joe Rogan honestly got tired of Trump a long time ago. Not that I'm a fan of Rogan, but he got tired. He hasn't been pro-Trump for quite a while. He's not on board with the whole ICE thing. He is definitely not on board with the Iranian war. Laura Loomer is just a spineless follower trying to increase her own prestige. Like MAGA doesn't know what the hell they stand for. They don't have anything to stand for. Outside of Trump and whatever the hell Trump wants, they don't know what they don't know what they stand for. Texas to become a blue state. I mean, I don't think Greg Abbott's going to lose, but I think Tellerico's going to win Texas. For higher gas. Yes, I saw that. They've been doing that ever since the war started, Dark. Yes, because Joe Rogan needs ratings. He's like because talking to Trump gets ratings for his show. He doesn't really favor Trump's policies because Trump's policies are garbage. The Tea Party is MAGA. Like the Tea Party is the precursor to MAGA. MAGA is what the Tea Party evolved into. It's all a reaction. All that crap is basically a reactionary force to a black guy getting elected. That's what it all is. All that stuff, a lot of that stuff started because, oh my God, a black guy got elected president. It's basically like their secret way of like saying we're still racist without saying so overtly. Because MAGA, in essence, is a racist movement. There's very little way you can deny that. And that's how, like, whether Donald Trump himself is racist or not, that's how he actually got so many followers. Because he made racism A-OK. They rallied around a guy that made racism A-OK and ignorance. Like, they rallied around a guy that made racism and ignorance perfectly fine. He sees them as virtues rather than something to be gotten rid of. A guy who thinks like education, like he doesn't like Donald Trump doesn't like educated people. He likes people that he can manipulate extremely easily. And as so, the average MAGA person is not very educated. Because like the places where MAGA is the strongest are the rural areas, like the most rural and backcountry areas of the United States. They're also the least educated. It was only divisive because he's black. If Obama wasn't black, it wouldn't have become so divisive. They couldn't stand that a black guy got elected to office twice. That's why it was so divisive. Because most of America actually likes the idea of socialized medicine, of socialized healthcare, and a lot of the stuff he was pushing. He was only divisive because he was black. It's not surprising that they went nuts over the. It's not really that surprising. All these Tea Party people and these MAGA people went nuts over the first black president. It's not because of his policies. It's really not because of his policies. It's because he was black. Yeah, neither is end-stage capitalism because it just makes things worse and worse, Dark. Like I said, my goal is to move the economic needle back to the left, to where it was like 50 years ago, from where it is now. The only way I'm going to do that is to vote for lefties and socialists, because that is the only way to start pushing the needle slowly back. Because if I vote for moderates, they're not going to push the needle back. If you vote for right-wing conservatives, they're just going to push the needle more right. And right-wing conservative economic policy is garbage. It's total garbage. Yeah, I don't really care about the social policies. I care about the economic policy a lot more. The economic policy is far, far more important than any of these like shitty social policies. It affects a lot more people. Because guess what? Like gay people being able to get married does not make me gay. You know the whole WNBA thing with NBA players declaring for the WNBA draft? You know how many trans athletes are in the WNBA? 0. That's how many people are actually affected. There are 0 trans athletes in the WNBA. It's a big political stunt. Now, I want to see what they do, but it is really just a big political stunt because they're making a big deal about like trans athletes in the WNBA when there are 0 trans athletes in the WNBA. They would actually be the first ones. There are lesbians in the WNBA, yes, but there are no trans athletes in the WNBA. most people that come over aren't like most people that come over aren't criminals. Like all the statistics actually like say the exact opposite of what you're claiming, Baldy Gold. And they do pay taxes, like everyone else, because their employer has to account for the fact that he has an extra worker. Like they might not, like their employer might fudge their ID, but he still has an extra worker, and they still have to pay the taxes. They also don't have social security numbers, but they have tax ID numbers. That's not a violent crime. That crime doesn't really affect anyone. I know that like white people are deadly afraid. Some white people are deadly afraid when like most of the United States isn't white anymore, and they can like lose their status as majority and be reduced to a minority because they don't like the way they treat other minorities, basically. Because they won't let you come in legally, Baldy Gold. Are you stupid? Like legal immigration in the United States has been massively restricted since the 90s. It takes like a decade or more to actually legally come to the United States. Like, you've never actually experienced any of this stuff, Baldy Gold. Well, first of all, white people don't really want to go to China. So, like, they don't want to go over there to take it over. You can't take it over without actually people going over there. The process has been lengthened out by so long. Like, illegal immigration started going up because the legal process just got a lot harder. When you actually had a fairly quick legal process, there was less illegal immigration. But when you make like someone wait for like 10 years, yeah, there's going to be a lot more illegal immigration. And bro, like foreigners like dominated China for like 100 years. Didn't make China any better. Of course, Hong Kong being an exception. Hong Kong was pretty good under British rule. But the rest of China was just a colony for a long time. You should vet the people coming in, but the vetting shouldn't take like a decade and a half. Like, look, racism should be taught as an evil thing across the United States. It should be recognized as like as something evil. The faster we can get rid of it, the better off we are. And like violent crime among immigrants is no higher than is no higher than like regular citizens. Yes, if your house is like massively big, and they come in and they pay rent, and they're law-abiding citizens, yes, you should let them stay. Yeah, because Americans don't want hard labor jobs, and farmers can't afford to pay high prices for labor because then they would go bankrupt. Yeah, but they didn't smash the windows or anything. And they actually pay rent. See, most of the times when people break into the house illegally, they don't pay rent or follow rules. And you've made it so hard to come in legally. It's basically like your way of saying that we don't want any non-white immigrants to our country. That's what you're really saying. You're just trying to cover it up in another way. And the people that you actually want to come over don't actually want to come over because they're fine where they are. Because they were trying to get more people to immigrate from like Norway or Finland, but those people were like, no thanks, we'll just stay where we are. Because America doesn't have enough to attract those people. From like the northern European countries, we don't have socialized healthcare like they do. We don't have we don't have work benefits like they do. Why the hell would they want to come here? But like 88 Metal Man, that's mainly because of racism though. That's the thing, like we need to start teaching like hardcore that racism is simply just evil. That it's not like that racism is evil and not acceptable. We don't need a president that like normalizes it or tries to pretend that it's like acceptable. It is because it could be because of two political parties, but at the root of it, it is racism. Because the two political parties have shifted positions a couple of times. Because the Democrats used to be the conservative party and the Republicans used to be the liberal party. Now they've completely shifted. And voting patterns change. But it's really racism. It's really the racism and racial superiority thing that makes people align with whatever agenda. I would say racism is the primary factor. It's always been the primary factor. Yeah, but that really shouldn't make a difference. Because like we need to actually look like the entire country needs to push the fact that racism is evil and that like that racism is evil and that it should not be accepted. That is completely unacceptable. Yeah, dark. Their taxes are like their form of government's also way more socialistic. You know, instead of like us that move to the right economically, they move further to the left. Their top tax bracket is quite a lot higher. They require their businesses to do a lot more for society, the way that we should. Yeah, and the reason they're homogenized is the reason we're divided is because of racism. There's no real other reason. It's just racism. Also, like their country's like cold as shit, so like there's really not that many people moving there. It's like Baldy Gold. It's like Canada. People want to immigrate there, but not nearly as many as the United States because it's freaking cold. Like the climate matters a lot. Like in Canada, you're basically restricted to a fairly narrow band where you want to live. No one really like. There's like Calgary and Edmonton, but realistically, like no one wants to live in the north. All that land is pretty much empty. Like Canada has 1/10 the population of the United States, and it's not because of like government policy or economic policy. It's just because it's damn cold up there. Yes, it like per capita. Yes, you're right. But I'm talking like overall population wise, it's just really cold. There's not as many people that want to move there. Like Canada's always like kind of their second choice if they can't get into the United States. And for some reason, people are just afraid of different cultures. Dude, no one wants to move to Russia. Yeah, but a lot of those immigrants also set up businesses and employ people, which is like the excuse that you always use for like capitalism. When it's dropping below 60K, I think it'll take a few weeks or a month or so. Bro, I live in Madison, man. Like it's one of like in Wisconsin is one of the most diverse towns there is, and I also live downtown. Wisconsin is, Madison's not. I don't live in rural Wisconsin, man. I live on campus in University Town. I don't know what the demographics are in Madison. It's like it's a lot more diverse than like rural Wisconsin, especially like where I live. Yeah, it's by the lakes. I mean, the education rate in Madison's pretty high though. Like most people are highly educated here. It is very high because all like look, cities are going to be more expensive than towns around them. But the university area is like highly diverse because it's a freaking university. No, I definitely don't want people that would assimilate with MAGA culture and values. Absolutely not. Those are like the worst type of people. I would trade people with MAGA values for like foreign born people any day of the week. The country would just completely like the country would completely implode and die if it was like all MAGA people. It's all right. It's not like New York City. But then again, I don't really care about the nightlife. It's just, I mean, like, it's all right. I do like it better than the. I do rather live. I rather live here than like the west suburbs of St. Louis, where my parents live. Yeah, I'm not really concerned about baddies. I could care. I stopped caring about those like a long time ago. I'm not like nearly as pathetically thirsty as you are. I mean, like Baldy Gold, with how much you talk about baddies and thirst, you should actually hate Christianity because you obviously don't share the Christian values. I'm actually pretty happy being single. I don't really have like a huge want to get married at this point. Like I'm more open to it than I was like a long time ago, but like I'm not like in a hurry. But Dark, he talks about like trying to get baddies all day. He should actually not like he should not like Christianity at all because chasing baddies is not a Christian value. Hey, Christian Republican Party. The Republican Party is not the party of Christians. Look at who their leader is, Alan. It is definitely not a party of Christians. They're very much antithetical. Like they're the antithesis of Christian values. Their leader is literally the antithesis of Christian values. Because Christian nationalism is not biblical. Dude, if he's chasing baddies, he's obviously not chasing. If you're chasing baddies, you're not obviously not looking for a wife. You're just looking to get laid. Come on now, it's not like that's hard. That's not hard to like figure out. If you're like constantly like talking about chasing baddies and getting baddies, you are just looking to get laid. You are not looking for a wife. That's fairly obvious. It doesn't actually quite work like that because like your heart actually has to change. It's like you actually have to internally change. Like just saying I believe on my deathbed, if you don't actually believe, it doesn't really help you. Like there's supposed to be like some kind of like lifestyle change. It's like it's really down to each person's individual. But talking about chasing baddies all the time basically tells it's a pretty good sign that you're not really in with the Christian values. If you're trying to chase baddies all the time, all right. That's a pretty good sign you're not really down with Christian values. Yeah, but you have to actually, like, you have to truly repent deep down. You can't just say like I repent, because a lot of people when they say that for show, they don't actually repent. You have to actually repent. I can't tell if you do or not, obviously, but you have to actually repent. Yes, constantly talking about baddies and trying to hit up baddies is not Christian. So if you are consistently trying to do that, don't talk to me about abortion or gay marriage, because you obviously don't care about the Christian lifestyle. No, 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 Dark. The Christianity chasing one woman, not women, one woman. And then when you're with her, you don't chase anyone else. That's how that works. Not chase one woman, have 3 kids with her, cheat on her with a younger woman, have another kid with her, divorce her, marry a third immigrant woman, and then hire a hooker afterwards. That's not how it works. No, no, one woman at a time. If you break up with someone, you can pursue someone else. You do not pursue multiple women at once. That is not biblical. I'm fine with dating a lot of. I'm not stuck with like Asian people. I mean, like, I think attractiveness wise, I probably prefer Asian people, but like, I'm fine with like Latinos or other people. No, but you date one person at a time, Dark. You do not date several people at a time. Like, if you actually care about Christianity, like, and you actually espouse Christian values, one person at a time, and you do not sleep with them until you are married. That's how Christianity works. Yeah, but that's not Christian, Dark. That is undeniably not Christian. Christian relationships require commitment. Like, the Christian relationship is all about commitment. Yeah, look, if you're single, you can mingle with people, but if you're actually dating someone, you date, like, you're in a relationship with one person at once. You are not in a relationship with multiple people at once. Having sex outside of marriage is adultery. And adultery is just as sinful as any other sin. So if you care about Christian values, that's how it works. It's not something that you just made up. And Republicans should care about that just as much as they care about abortion and homosexual marriage, but obviously they don't. So don't tell me they care about Christian values, because they obviously don't. It's just stuff they only care about stuff they're uncomfortable with. They don't really care about overarching greed or any of that other stuff. Bald Eagle, shut up. Like, seriously, stop being a dumbass. Republicans are not the Christian party. They don't espouse any of the Christian values. Their leader is the exact opposite of any kind of Christian values. Why would Jesus disavow pleasure before marriage? But he did. It might seem silly to you, but he did. Like, sex outside of marriage is sinful. According to the Bible, sex outside of marriage is sinful. You don't like the Bible is the Bible. Like, you can't just make up your own Bible. No, they say they're conservative Christians, but they don't give two shits about conservative Christian values if it gets in their way. Yes, you could like sleeping with your wife is not a sin. There are some things that are, I would say abortion's pretty objective because God's never, like, I would say abortion's pretty subjective because God never actually mentions abortion. He's like, Jesus specifically mentions this stuff about adultery. No, MAGA Mike Johnson's just a spineless coward. No, no, no. If it's a sin, it's definitely wrong. That's why you have to beg for forgiveness if you committed a sin. Yes, we're all sinful because we're not perfect. But the Christians are supposed to be monogamous. Yes, we all sin, but it is not right to sin. That's why sin requires forgiveness. But you don't. But if you're truly Christian, you don't go around sin. You don't you don't go around like sinning. Yeah, you try to avoid sin as much as possible. Of course, we're not perfect, so we can't be perfect. But there's repentance, and there's not like, and there's basically trying to avoid it, repenting, and not doing it again. That's the whole Christian walk. Going around sleeping around with people obviously means you're not repenting. The standard is very high. We can't achieve it, but we should try. See, Dark, you obviously don't care about Christianity at all. So don't, like, never bring up abortion and gay marriage with me again. About, like, how that's, like, unchristian. Because you obviously don't care about Christian values. Yes, there's a lot of bad Christian pastors. Like I would honestly say right now, like Jesus would probably be pretty much politically independent, but I because he actually, like, Jesus tells people tells us to take care of the weak, the poor, and all that stuff. I think he would actually lean Democratic over Republican if he was here today. So Republicans aren't like aren't the party of Christianity or anything. Jesus would definitely not be MAGA. Jesus would completely disavow Elon Musk and Donald Trump. People that hoard like egregious amounts of wealth, he would absolutely disavow. Because hoarding, like egregious wealth and hoarding, is the sin that he actually, accumulating egregious wealth and hoarding wealth are the sins that he warns about the most in the Bible. So he would definitely disavow that. He would not be down with Elon trying to become a trillionaire. So don't tell me that Republicans have some kind of religious high ground or they're the party of Christianity. They are absolutely not. Jesus really wouldn't side with either party, but I think he'd be more disgusted with the Republicans at this point in time. Continuously cutting taxes for the wealthy, wanting to take away social services. Don't think he would be down with that at all. I don't really think Jesus really cares about advancing to space. Yeah, Jesus cares for the poor. He takes care of the sick, poor, and lame. He would actually agree with higher tax rates. I'm not going fishing. I might go fishing tonight for a while, but I think it's going to rain tonight. And Jesus actually tells us to welcome the foreigner. So I don't know if he'd be down with the immigration policy either. Like, a lot of those policies, like, aren't really, like, those policies definitely aren't rooted in religion. It's just personal preference. I don't think Jesus would look at anyone as an illegal. I highly doubt Jesus would look at anyone as an illegal. Because he literally tells us to welcome the foreigner. There weren't immigration. There wasn't this whole like the concept of immigration and illegal immigrants wasn't there in Jesus' time. So except well, not that won't. A simulation isn't really required. Like what's required is they can't break the law. So there were people sojourning in Israel all the time, but they have to follow they actually have to follow like Israeli law. So I think Jesus would be fine as long as they follow American laws. They don't have to assimilate to American customs, but they still have to follow our laws. And that's where I think like Jesus would say that's not really a legitimate law, because I don't think he would consider anyone illegal. Because he quite literally tells us to welcome the foreigner. It's not following. I don't really have any real reason to go to LA. Now I'm going to stop streaming in a while. I gotta go cook and eat. Alright guys, that's going to be it for right now. Like and subscribe, hit the bell notifications button. I will be back later tonight. I'll see you guys later. I mean, like sometimes if people donate, I stream a little bit longer, but realistically, like 2 hours is probably my limit. I usually only do an hour and 30 minutes.